Ladies and gentlemen, I give you General Mark Welsh III, the most recent member of Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated. General Welsh, the podium is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the honor. Proud to serve. Unbelievable. Thank you, sir. Leon, thank you so much. And to the members of the association, to the original airmen, thank you for this incredible honor. Ladies and gentlemen, to say that this evening is an honor for me, or that I'm enjoying being here with you, might be the greatest single understatement of my life. It's fantastic to be here. Let me introduce somebody to you who you might not have met. My wife, Betty, is sitting right there. Betty, would you stand up for just a second? Betty and I just celebrated 38 years of marriage. We've been doing this together a long time. She loves our Air Force as much as I do, and she's, like so many of the spouses sitting out there, actually sacrificed more for it than I have. Honey, thanks for sharing the ride. I love you. It is such an incredible privilege to be here just to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the lighting of this eternal flame that was first lit at Chanute Field in Illinois on this date in 1941, and is still burning pretty brightly in the eyes of the 10 original Tuskegee Airmen who are sitting here tonight. 75 years ago, the new members of the 99th Pursuit Squadron actually had an awful lot in common with our airmen of today. Some of them were completing flight training, some were completing training and maintenance, in armament, in navigation, communication. Some were completing training as administrators. Some were weather observers. And just like the white trainees of the time, they hailed from all over the country, north, south, east, west, and all they asked was the privilege to serve their country. Of course, all the instructors are white. And while the white trainees lived in new barracks, the black students lived in old World War I era barracks, or they lived in tents. Their drinking fountains and laboratories were separate. The Army Medical Corps even prohibited mixing their blood in the service's blood banks. That segregation extended to buses and trains and dining facilities, something airmen today can't even begin to comprehend. But despite the chaos they dealt with on the ground, 14,000 or so Tuskegee-trained pilots and support personnel found their inspiration in the sky. Because in a P-51, flying at 12,000 feet and 400 miles per hour, it was courage that counted, not color. To the critics you heard about in the videos who anticipated and predicted failure, Tuskegee represented an experiment. But to the men and women who accepted the challenge, who rose to meet the enemy, who lived our Air Force core values long before they were even written, Tuskegee became the experience of a lifetime. I personally like to think of Tuskegee as an awakening for a nation. An awakening that began because a remarkable group of American airmen refused to back down, refused to be defined by anything except their skill in combat, refused to agree that they were not the masters of their own future, and refused to stand by while someone else fought for their country's freedom. To the airmen who are here tonight, you never surrendered your values or beliefs. You always stood tall. You always stepped up, and you patiently and persistently allowed intelligence to overcome ignorance. I believe that awakening came full circle when Benny Davis Jr., a great Tuskegee Airman, a friend to so many in this room, and the son of a former Buffalo Cavalry soldier, became the first black general officer in our Air Force. You've heard the numbers all night long in the videos. 1,500 combat missions, 112 destroyed enemy aircraft, 96 distinguished flying crosses. It's a legendary combat record. But it's not the only reason that we consider you gentlemen heroes. Because your story didn't end there. And I believe that's what tonight really celebrates. In the 71 years since World War II ended, Tuskegee Airmen have educated, trained, and inspired young Americans to follow in their footsteps in a way that superseded service, race, color, or creed, and serves as an example for anyone who dares to dream. You talked to thousands of schools and hundreds of thousands of students. You taught pilot prodigies to fly. You mentored generations of American airmen, and you kept the Tuskegee story and the heroes behind it alive and well. You made the idea of Tuskegee timeless. I've known about this ceremony for a couple of months now, and I'm still unable to wrap my mind around the fact that you're allowing me to wear a red jacket. I just don't feel worthy. No one ever judged me by the color of my skin. No one ever refused to serve me in a restaurant or banned me from using their bathroom. No one stood between me and my dreams. No one ever said that I couldn't fly, that I wasn't capable, or that I shouldn't be allowed to serve my country. I will never fully understand the price of admission that the original Tuskegee Airmen paid so many years ago. It's not possible for someone who wasn't there to understand it. But I promise that I will wear your colors as proudly as anyone ever has. And I will never, never forget that there is greatness in the heart of every airman. You taught us that. So happy anniversary, Red Tails, and from the bottom of this old airman's heart, thank you for an honor that I will never, ever forget. Let me finish by introducing somebody to you. Major General Rich Clark, where are you sitting? Rich, would you come up here for just a minute? Just stand right there in the middle of the stairs. This is going to embarrass you. Harpo Clark is the commander of the 8th Air Force. You'll remember as you flew for the great 15th Air Force, you can just face the crowd, Rich, for a second. As you flew for the great 15th Air Force, the 8th Air Force, the mighty 8th, was conducting huge missions against targets in Germany. 2,000 bombers at a time, 1,000 fighter escorts, all of which were trying to mimic the record of the Red Tails. Can you imagine a black man commanding the 8th Air Force in 1944? Rich Clark is the commander of the 8th Air Force, and he has a long way to go in our Air Force. He will command other things. He will wear more stars. And nobody in our Air Force cares what color he is. That is your legacy. There is no way to thank you enough for that. Thank you, Rich.